good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for coming. This is really kind of surreal for a kid that grew up in the Midwest and never saw a surfboard until we moved to California. So understanding what Joyce means to this community is amazing to me. I mean, look who showed up for such a special person. I do have to say I'm a little disappointed where your statue is. We might have to move this because you deserve to be right up in the middle, right next to Hobie. So, I'll just go into my remarks because we all want to get through this and hear Joyce speak. So, today we're here to celebrate the career of Joyce Hoffman. As you guys all know, it's been amazing. When the city envisioned Waterman's Plaza, it was to recognize the iconic watermen and women who made their mark in Southern California and throughout the world, and while they lived, worked, and innovated in the surf and surfed in Dana Point. Now, Joyce Hoffman is not just the first woman to be honored here, but the first life-size bronze statue in the nation honoring a female surfer. I'm going to read just a few of her accolades. I'm sure you guys all know these. From 63 to 71, Hoffman dominated women's surfing competitions across the globe. In addition to her U.S. surfing championships at 65, 67, or 65, 66, and 67, she won the Makaha International in 64 and 66, and the Laguna Masters in 65 and 67. Her success in the surf industry also led to recognition outside the sport as a Los Angeles Times Woman of the Year at the age of 18. Are you kidding me? I think it may be time to give it to her again. As well as being featured in magazines such as Life, Sports Illustrated, and even 17. What makes her success so special to all of us in Dana Point is that she started surfing on these very shores when her parents moved to Capo Beach when she was 13. She even entered her first surf contest in the early 60s at Doheny State Beach. I think Joyce's career epitomizes the surf culture here in Dana Point. She was sponsored by Hobie Surfboards, and it was her friend, Hobie Alter, who approved a signature surfboard for Joyce, then directed Terry Martin to shape the first prototypes. Gordon Clark of Clark Foam, the biggest foam manufacturer in the world, lived near her parents on Beach Road. She knew Bruce Brown and watched Phil Edwards surf. For Joyce, it was not just the waves that shaped her career, but the community of Dana Point that played a role as well. And that relationship continues today, because young girls might just come across Joyce when she's out there surfing. And that is remarkable. She is more than an icon. She's an everyday inspiration and one of the best ambassadors for the surf industry and for the city of Dana Point. Now I'd like to invite up to the podium Don Craig, lifelong friend of Joyce, who began surfing with her when she was in her early teens.
Well, I'm going to probably repeat some of the things that the mayor just said, but anyway, so I wrote my speech when he wasn't around. So first off, I'd like to thank the city of Dana Point, the mayor, and all the people who've helped to put this plaza together and dedicated this to the sport of surfing. These statues represent people who have made a major impact on our sport and have influenced all of our surfing lives. I'm honored to have been chosen to speak on behalf of Joyce Hoffman for this momentous occasion. We've been friends for many decades and have always had a mutual respect for one another as surfers. Joyce comes from one of the first families of surfing, the Hoffmans. Her father, Walter, and Uncle Flippy were consummate watermen and pioneers of big wave riding in Hawaii. Their fabric design business, Hoffman California Fabrics, collaborated and supported early surfwear companies such as Hang Ten, OP, Quicksilver, among many others throughout the surf industry throughout the decades. Herbie Fletcher married Joyce's sister, Dibby, and they're both here, of course. Herbie was the first to ride big waves on his jet ski and a very accomplished surfer, all-around surfer as well. He was also producer of the popular video series Wave Warriors. Their sons, Christian and Nathan, I saw Nathan here, have gone on to carve out their own niches in the surfing world. Christian advanced the complexity of the sport by introducing aerials to surfing, and brother Nathan continues to charge record-breaking huge waves around the globe. Joyce's great niece, Indy, is now competing and carrying on the Hoffman legacy. In high school, Joyce first attended Capo High for her freshman through her junior year. Capo High had a split sessions schedule, so she was able to surf every morning. In her senior year, she moved over to San Clemente High in 1964, became part of the first graduating class. As class president, Joyce helped create the Trident logo, which to this day remains San Clemente High's logo and school mascot. Joyce started competing at an early age and started winning almost every event she entered. She was an early pioneer in women's competitive surfing, along with the likes of Marge Calhoun and Linda Benson, who's here in the audience as well. Joyce went on to win numerous surf championships. She was aggressive in her approach, and she trained extremely hard to become a champion. Surfers she admired from that time were Phil Edwards for his grace and style, and David Nueva for his nose riding ability. There it is, right there. And I'm going to repeat some of the events that she's won that the mayor mentioned as well. In 1964, she received first place in the women's surfer pole. In 1965, she took first place in the World Championships in Peru. From 1965 through 67, and again in 1971, Joyce won first place in the U.S. Championships in Huntington Beach. And there's always a lot of competition there. In 1964 and 1966, she won first place in the Makaha International Championships. In 1965, she was awarded the LA Times Woman of the Year. And in 1966, she took first place in the World Contest here in San Diego. Quite an achievement. Joyce was also the woman's spokesperson for the American Cancer Society. She had the honor of being the first female ocean lifeguard in California and possibly the entire United States. She went down and tried out in Del Mar and got the job down there, so that's pretty big choice there. Joyce had many additional achievements over the years, too many to mention. But Joyce's greatest legacy isn't all her titles or even her first as a woman. Her greatest contribution to surfing was her competitiveness and her sense of responsibility. Joyce took surfing from a recreational activity to a serious sport. She was the first surfer, male or female, to focus on the competitive possibilities of surfing. She brought a relentless drive to win. She didn't just surf, she practiced for hours every day. She trained like any other athlete in any other sport, cross-training with weights, swimming and paddling when the surf was small, and running to put herself in peak condition. Prior to an event, she would spend days surfing that break, so she would be familiar with all its nuances. No one was more prepared, both mentally and physically, than she. With the increasing interest in surfing during the 60s, Joyce felt a responsibility to herself and to surfing to be a positive role model both in and out of the water. She wanted to reflect well on the sport that was giving her so many opportunities. She took her position as a champion very seriously. While these attitudes would have been customary in any other sport, they were new to the sport of surfing, especially during an era of extreme overindulgence. Joyce told me that one of the best things about being a professional surfer was all the friendships she made around the world. Through competition, she met surfers from many other countries and later was able to travel and surf with the locals at their home breaks. Joyce was always welcomed, never feeling like an outsider. Joyce still surfs regularly and commands the lineup wherever she paddles out. I'm impressed by what she has achieved and proud of her for receiving this amazing statue alongside this impressive group of fellow surfers. I'd like to commend Bill Limebrook, the sculptor, for the fantastic job he's done in honoring each of these legends with these timeless monuments to surfing history. Congratulations to Joyce for this well-deserved honor. And now I'd like to turn the mic over to Joyce.
Can everyone hear me? Thank you, Dawn, and thank you, Mayor, for your kind and generous introductions. Wow. I must say it feels very strange to have a statue. Statues are for people much more important than myself. So to be included among these great surfing icons, Hobie, Bruce Brown, John Severson, Phil Edwards, and others who will soon be honored here, all of whom have made enormous contributions to surfing and its industry, is something words alone can't quite express, but I'll try. Thank goodness for the city of Dana Point and the Waterman's Plaza for recognizing the historic significance local residents have made to surfing, its industry, and culture in general. I am so very humbled to be included within this extraordinary honor. Many people have worked tirelessly to make today possible. First, the Dana Point City Council, including Mayor Joe Miller, Mayor Pro Tem Mike Frost, council members Michael Villar, Rick Vixoric, and Jamie Federico, and city staff members Mike Killebrew, Kelly Renders, Matt Sinacori, James Shadle, Shayna Sharkey, Scott Fisher, Al Jacobo, and Jamie Toe. And finally, Jeff Miller and the Capitol Beach Crane people who got me here. Thank you all. The creator of all the magnificent statues you see here at the Waterman's Plaza deserves special acknowledgement, especially from me, artist Bill Linebrook. Bill and I have come full circle on this project, making it all the more special and meaningful for both of us. We both grew up on Beach Road and share many fond memories of those youthful years. Who would have thought that one day a surfer and an artist would be celebrating a day like today together? Going through the creative process of this project with Bill, I was amazed at how laborious his task was from start to finish. The untold hours searching, sorting, and picking the right photos upon which to base the statue according to its various angles and stages of development. The seemingly endless revisions. And as many of you know, I'm not exactly the easiest person to work with. I carry very little restraint of pen and tongue. And when it comes to a life-size statue that will be in public view for God only knows how long, one tends to become very particular about every detail. Oh, Bill, do you think you could make my ears a little smaller and my breasts a little bigger? Seriously though, Bill was ever the gentleman and listened to my suggestions and those of others. I couldn't be more pleased with his work, his graciousness, and his gift. Thank you, Bill. You're the best. I would also like to thank Mark and Karen Peon, who drove from Northern California in that beautiful restored 1965 Triumph Spitfire. As far as Mark has been able to determine, this is the Spitfire that Triumph Motor Company gave me and featured in print ads, including the back cover of Road and Track magazine. Amazing. So not only have I been restored in this statue, but my old car has been restored too. Very humbling indeed. And finally, I want to thank every person here. Your passion and contributions enhance the spirit of the sport of surfing and are a driving force that make events like this possible. Thank you all. The very first surf contest I entered when I was 13 years old was held here at Doheny, long before the harbor was built. My dad and I entered the tandem competition. It was the first and last time I ever rode competitive tandem. No offense, Dad, but I wanted to pick the waves and surf myself, not be a hood ornament. I honed my surfing skills in front of the family home on Beach Road at the southern end of Dana Point and here at Doheny. And I rode for Hobie Surfboards, which is located just a little way up Coast Highway from here. I am definitely a product of Dana Point. While this statue is of me, I like to think of it as an honor to all the women surfers who came before and after me. All the trailblazers who didn't accept the concept that surfing was a man's sport, that women were expected to stay on the beach while the guys had all the fun. These were women who wanted to challenge themselves and the assumption that they did not belong in the surf. As I look out over this crowd of people, I see so many women who deserve credit for making this statue possible. Women who definitely made waves, not only in advancing the sport's skill and performance, but by promoting, marketing, and organizing competitive surfing itself. Women such as Marianne Hawkins and Robin Gregg in the 40s, and Marge, Candy, and Robin Calhoun in the 50s. Linda Benson, who's here today, one of the first internationally recognized women surfers in the late 50s and early 60s. Debbie Beecham, who's here, yay! Who in the 70s helped create the Women's Pro Surfing Tour and has been charging ever since. Jericho Poplar, who's here, a co-founder of WISA, along with Mary Setterholm, and has been a tireless supporter of women's surfing to this day. And Mary Lou Drummy, who's here, who has been promoting amateur surfing through the Western Surfing Association for what seems like forever. Talk about dedication. Without these ladies and others like them, women's professional surfing wouldn't have evolved into the sport it has become today. I thank each of you and every one of you, and surfing thanks you too. My philosophy is that timing plays a huge role in life, and it's something we have very little control over. Sometimes we're in the right spot at just the right time to take advantage of an opportunity, whether it be a set wave, a career path, or other life events. My timing was fortunate in that my career coincided with one of the biggest waves to ever hit surfing, the 60s. This was when a whole lot of diverse influences grew together to form one giant swell that swept across America, and I was lucky enough to be in the right spot to catch it, Southern California. Our coast became a confluence of surf-themed music with The Ventures, the Beach Boys, Jan and Dean, surf-themed movies, the Beach Blanket Bingo series, Gidget, and Endless Summer, and surf-inspired clothing from Hang Ten to Ocean Pacific to Aloha shirts. People across the country became intrigued with the quirkiness of surfing and its characters. They wanted to become a part of it. And Madison Avenue, being the sharks that they are, quickly took the bait. And what once was limited to the immediate coast became a new sensation and even a lifestyle across the country. I just happened upon that wave and rode it beyond Surfer and Surfing Magazine into mainstream magazines such as Life, Look, Vogue, and Sports Illustrated. And sponsorships beyond board makers to wax companies, to sponsorships from Triumph Motor Cars, to Bonnie Bell Cosmetics, and Catalina Swimwear. Being here right now and having this amazing honor is a testament to how good this ride has been for me. And I am so fortunate at this stage of my life that my wave is still in motion. It's just getting a little smaller and a little slower as I get closer to shore. So it is with the greatest humility that I thank the great sport of surfing and all its wonderful eccentric characters, all of you, for allowing me to drop in on one hell of a wave, one that has lasted for over 60 years. Thank you.
One more big round here.